Welcome, everyone. My name is Jonna Wickstrom, and I'm Online Marketing Coordinator for JMH Consulting. I'll be acting as your webinar moderator today, which means that I'll be handling any technical difficulties and answering questions during the webinar. We are excited to present the first in our webinar series designed to help you increase your revenue. I see we have several familiar names in attendance today. For those of you we haven't met, let me give a brief introduction to JMH. JMH Consulting is a strategic partner for adult continuing and executive education departments. Our areas of expertise include program launch and management, curriculum design, marketing, and strategy, with a strong emphasis on data-driven decisions and a planning process that brings direct results. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope to provide you with some takeaways you can immediately use to increase your revenue. Specifically, you'll learn some website best practices and techniques to optimize your website's conversion rate. So who better to present on this topic than John Horn, President of JMH Consulting and a leading expert on the use of technology in adult education. For the past 6 years, John has served as Acting Director of Professional Programs at Emory University. During that time, he grew Emory's revenues by more than 500%. Much of this growth resulted from website improvements. And today, Emory's website is responsible for over 75% of enrollment. And without further ado, here's John.
Well, welcome. Yeah, this is JMH Consulting's very first webinar that we've been doing, and this is in response a bit to the economy, but also just as part of the adult learning community. It seemed like an appropriate thing to do. I am delighted to see so many people in attendance and to be able to talk with you a little bit today about a topic that's near and dear to my heart. For those that don't know me or much about my background, I actually started off my professional career as a web developer. So I spent about a half dozen years both teaching adult education courses, which I continue to do today, as well as doing professional website design for a variety of clients. Probably did 40 to 50 different sites start to finish early on in my career. For the last, probably 6 to 8 years, I've been working exclusively in adult education, as Jonna said, doing a lot of work with Emory University, but also consulting with various other schools on their own websites and other items. So I no longer consider myself a professional web designer exclusively, but it's certainly one of the things that I find a lot of value in, and something that we help Emory leverage to a large degree with our work there, but also with others. As I was preparing this presentation, I thought back to many conversations that I had with people at conferences and such around websites and using websites as marketing tools to try to generate enrollments. And what came to mind was the stages of online marketing and conversion that the website can help you to move your prospective students through, and that I think a lot of people tend to think, as I'll talk about in just a second, that marketing as somewhat of a binary process or an action that you take. And so as I sat down to think about it, I thought, something that's just really critical to making online marketing a success is to think about it in terms of stages. Different people are at different points in the buying process all the time, and your website and other online marketing tools can be helpful if you think about where people are and how they want to be engaged based on how ready they are in the purchase decision. So I'm going to be talking today about the four stages that you might use and integrate into your website in different ways to move people toward conversion. We're going to talk about the goals of each stage, what's your intent there, but then we're also going to talk a lot about some specific things that you can do within a website in adult education to address people at each of these stages of the buying process, if you will. And then, because our organization tends to be very data-driven, we'll also talk a bit about the kind of metrics that you can use around online marketing. And one of the beautiful things about marketing through a website or even online in general is that there are just fantastic sets of metrics out there. So you can really see the impact of what you're doing. So we'll look at quite a few of those. And then lastly, we'll wrap up by talking about a process that you could follow to begin to make some of these improvements that we're talking about today in your own site. So that's our agenda. And really, I'll get started by just reiterating that when I think about online marketing or achieving conversions with prospective students on a website, it really is a process. It's not an action. So when we think about things like pay-per-click marketing or search engine optimization or landing page optimization or shopping cart optimization, all of those things are pieces of a much larger puzzle that together lead people down the path of confidence in you and eventually to becoming a student. But this, if I had to set a theme for this presentation, this one sentence would be it, that we really have to think about the web conversion process, converting website visitors as a process. Now, before I get too deep into the presentation, Jonna, would you throw up our first question? I wanted to just get a sense of who is in attendance and what you guys are here to learn. So tell us a little bit about your role with respect to your own website, if you would. I think the poll's up. Okay, looks like we've got about a half who've responded, 70%. We have just 82%. Wow, and it's really interestingly distributed. Okay, Jonna, maybe go ahead and close that out. Let's show people the results. So very evenly split. So thank you guys for making my job a little bit harder by being a very diverse audience, but that's fine. And it's interesting to me to see how many different kinds of people or different roles are interested in this. And I think it's something that's not unique to websites, but is a very interesting part of online marketing, is that everyone from program staff to marketers to technology people all get involved in various ways. John, would you go ahead and throw up the second poll? And this is just to give us and everyone else an idea of kind of how do we feel about the websites that we're using right now. So I'll give you just a moment to complete that. So we got 70%. Great, 94%. Okay, John, let's go ahead and close that out and show the results. So, and this is promising, and I would hazard a guess that if I had asked the same question even just a couple of years ago, we might have gotten a different answer, maybe a bit higher percentage to the lower end. I think that organizations, and this again comes from a lot of conversations with both clients and peers at conferences, that people are recognizing the value of their website. As Jonna mentioned, the Emory University site that we help to manage drives about 75% of the enrollments for the department. So now that doesn't include our corporate clients, obviously, but aside from the corporate clients, we get the vast majority of registrations come through the website. So it's certainly an area where Emory puts a lot of their focus. And it's good to see that other people feel like their sites are performing reasonably well in many cases. Or at least not horribly, and no one said what website.